So yesterday, on April 14th, I was arrested for the second time protesting Taco Bell. What I did this time, someone was watching and gathered some pictures of the event and posted them on Facebook, sharing it around. In the post, they called me a Democrat. Now, for anyone who knew me a way back, you'll know that I wasn't really one for foul language. It's something I've started to use, but I'm now trying to cut back on again. But for this video, I'm going to use some very strong language. So if there are any children watching, don't. And if you have your kids with you, turn down the volume. This is your warning. Now, I'm not a Democrat. In fact, I fucking hate Democrats. Like, I cannot be any more serious about that. I have never voted for a Democratic president. I have voted in primaries, but I have never once voted for a Democrat into office. In 2008, I voted for McCain. I was going to church at the time and was a strong Republican. And in 2012, I wasn't a huge fan of Obama, so I voted for Romney. In 2016, I was fucking pissed about the whole Hillary situation, so I voted third party. I don't like Trump. I still don't like Trump. I'm not going to change my mind about that, but honestly, I prefer Republicans over Democrats. Let me tell you why. Democrats claim to be all about civil rights and stuff, but if you look at the people they put in power, they're not really about it. They just wait until it's so popular that it's the easy choice to vote it in, the obvious choice, and then they let it happen. They never do anything hard. They're a bunch of fucking spineless pushovers, and I hate them. Now let's take a look at the last few people that Republicans nominated into office. You've got McCain, Romney, and Trump. Again, as I said, I don't like Trump. I'm not going to change my mind about that. Don't even try. Fucking hate Trump. Then you have McCain and Romney. McCain and Romney didn't like Trump, and they went against the rest of their party to voice their disapproval of him. That takes backbone. That takes guts. And that tells me a lot about the Republican Party as a whole, that is who they nominated before Trump. That tells me that Republicans are a pretty good judge of character overall. I might not see eye to eye with a lot of Republicans on individual issues, but I will be the first to say Republicans have their hearts in the right place. Democrats don't. They just don't. Now, Democrats say that they care about social justice, but if they truly did, they would really push for candidates who cared about it. You would want someone who's always known the right choice to be your candidate. As far as I know, the only Democratic candidate who has always stood on the right side of history is Bernie Sanders. And he's not really a Democrat. He's just running on the ticket because that's his only option. And Democrats hate Bernie Sanders. They hate him. When you look at the people the Democratic Party has nominated, you've got John Kerry. No one liked George W. Bush. Even Republicans, a lot of them were like, he's alright, yay, America. He wasn't terrible, but, he had his flaws. It would have been really easy for Democrats to come in and win, and they brought John Kerry. John Kerry. Oof. Then you got Obama. Now, Obama was a fine president. Nothing spectacular. There have been worse presidents. There have been better ones. But let's be honest. His whole candidacy was a publicity stunt. They knew deep down that everyone wanted to be part of the generation that nominated the first black president. And they were right. That worked. He was fine. But, let's be real. The only reason he received the nomination over anyone else is because he was the first black president. Let's look at what else the Democratic Party has done since then. Their next nominee was Hillary. Yay! Fucking hate Hillary. If I ever wind up dead, you fucking know Hillary did it. Don't believe for 1 second it was Corona or whatever else they tell you. It was fucking Hillary. I swear to God on my life. That will end briefly. Don't get me started on Hillary. I will give her one thing. She didn't try to run again. Good. I like that. Because it would have been a very bad idea if she did. But she didn't. That was a smart move on her behalf, so kudos to her. But you look at the other candidates, and you got Pete, but a guy, I don't know how to, running on being the first gay president, and and then you've got Biden, who's basically just trying to get people to reminisce on, hey, remember how much you loved Obama? Well, get ready for more of that. Yay, remember those memes? Everyone loves memes. Let's get Biden in the White House. Yay, memes. It's so fucking transparent. I hate it and I want to die. You've got one candidate who actually does what Democrats claim to be about, and he's super fucking unelectable. That says a lot about the party. That says a lot about the party. They're spineless pushovers. They don't know how to nominate someone who has a backbone. They don't. I hate Democrats. I do. I really do. Republicans, you have been, in my experience, a far more accepting people than Democrats. It's easy to accept people when they align with your worldview. That doesn't make you accepting. If like, oh, you believe the same things I do, well then I accept you. That means I'm accepting. Yay! No, that's not how it works. Accepting means that you are willing to open up your worldview and reconsider things when presented with things that don't align with your worldview. And I have seen that a lot from Republicans, and not so much from Democrats. There's a lot of purity testing on the left, a lot, a lot. You don't think the right thing and you are out. Just take a look at ContraPoints, one of the most popular trans YouTubers that has ever been. And she got fucking roasted for having the wrong person featured in a video. Like, that's... They are so close-minded. Oh my god. Oh my god. I hate it. I hate the left. I hate the left so much. I spent the last 2 years living in it, and I just... You have no idea. Meanwhile, in the short time that I have been living amongst small town folk once again, and just talking to people, I have found that they have been much more accepting. They might not have known the right terms to use and had to ask some weird questions, but that's because they've never been exposed to someone like me. So, they're not going to know, and I'm happy to be the one to tell them, and I'm happy to be the one to communicate with them about what the right thing is. I can't expect them to go home and do homework about someone they might never meet. What the fuck? I hate the left, I really do. I want to see a better version of the left. I want to see a left that like nominates Bernie Sanders. That's what I want to see. That's the kind of left I want to see. It should be fucking Bernie Sanders and Mitt Romney. I don't believe everything the Republican Party stands for. I'll agree to that. But I also know why there's a conflict there. A lot of Republicans, in my opinion, have come from much better homes than people like me. And you have a different way of looking at the world when you have better relations with your parents or the loved ones in your family, your community, when you have good relationships with them, you have a different way of looking at the world. And for a lot of people like me, we don't. That's kind of how we wound up the way we did. And if you want people like me to be less clusterfucky, so a big reason the way I am is because I was raised in church. Not the whole being trans thing, that's my trauma. But the reason I am not a miserable person who just lets themselves get caught up in the same cycles of bullshit over and over and over and over and over is because I was raised in church on a Bible, and I love that. I absolutely do. I am so thankful that I was raised in church. There are a lot of people who are like, ugh, church is dumb. It's dumb. All Christians are bad. Anyone can know the difference between right and wrong. I'm an atheist. I don't need church. But they see the difference between right and wrong as the difference between obeying the rules. That's really what right and wrong means to them most of the time, is what I have found. They don't really understand the importance of putting others first and caring about others. They just don't. But they think they do. They think, oh, well, I shouldn't murder people because I'll go to jail. It's not, I shouldn't murder people because someone cares about them. You know, that's kind of the difference I see. They don't really see other people as people. They see them as background characters a lot of time. They don't really understand that they have lives and differences that they can never understand. And that's why they are the way they are, because they were raised differently. They just assume everyone else had a childhood like them and that they're all just blind to their trauma. But no, no, some people just didn't have the kind of trauma you did, and they're just fine. And they have lived, good lives. So you might be asking yourself how I account for Trump, how he fits into my view of the Republican Party. Well, here's the way I see it. Trump is not from small town America. You realize that, right? How do you expect someone who's never lived in small towns or grew up in them to genuinely care about them? They don't know. He doesn't. How could he? If he didn't grow up here, he doesn't really respect it. Not really. You've got to see that, right? He's a snake oil salesman. That's all he's ever been. That's how he got where he was. He knows people and he sells them on hopes and dreams. And then he takes their money and runs. I don't know how you didn't see that. I hate to be the one to tell you, but the evidence is pretty clear at this point. He doesn't really care about small towns. He just doesn't. Small towns aren't doing any better. I've seen them. They're worse. They're getting deader by the day. And Trump's doing nothing to change it. See, Trump's basically just a Democrat in Republican clothing. He pulled one of their stunts. This whole candidacy, his campaign, everything was just a publicity stunt. He just pulled an Obama. The first outsider president. Because that's what you all want. You all want an outsider. He's not really an outsider. But Trump's not really an outsider. He's got money. He's a fat cat. That's what politicians are. We all know that. They just rub elbows, and that's how they get anywhere. Spend money that they didn't earn. And Trump's good at what he does. I'll give him that. He got where he got for a reason. I won't deny him that. But there's going to be a time when he's going to pay for those consequences. Whether it's during his lifetime or years from now, whenever he's being mocked and laughed at in the history books, he's going to suffer. I have no doubt in that. So you gotta take a look at who you voted for. McCain and Romney didn't like Trump. So either two of the three that you voted for were bad, or one of them was. I think it's a lot easier to see that one of them was. And I know that requires you to admit that you were wrong. But I don't blame you. I don't hold it against you. I hate that small town America is dying too. This sucks. But the reason small town is dying is because of people like him. He cares about big business because he is big business. Why would he care about you? You're not big business. That's who he is. He exploits little people like us to do his work for him. When's the last time they stood out? When's the last time they put their neck on the line? Bernie Sanders did, and like I said, he'll never get nominated. Think of someone else who's done that. Right? Right? Now me, I protested by myself. No one else there. I knew I was going to get arrested because, I can't get away. We can't. The only time you ever see Democrats protest anything is when there's 5,000 of them. So if the police try to arrest someone, they can just hope it's not them. But I have no hope of that. I'm the only one doing this. So yeah, when police show up, it's going to be me who gets arrested. I know that. I'm just not afraid of that. Like, I think there's some people who think I went into this thinking I wasn't going to get arrested, but of course I knew. I'm not dumb. And people who have suggested other ways of me doing this without getting arrested, but it's like, no. If I'm on Taco Bell property, they're going to get me arrested if I don't leave. And if I'm not on Taco Bell property, I'm not really accomplishing anything. So I got to get arrested. That's what I got to do. And I'm just not afraid of that because I'm not chicken shit. Even though I paint my nails and dye my hair with galaxy print and call myself a woman, I still see myself as a red-blood American man in some way. I see myself as someone who stands up for what is right, who protects the one that they love. That's who I am. That's how I was raised, and I still believe in that. Even though I do like, girl stuff, I'm a complex individual, as you will find. Still have the cojones to put myself on the line to protect the people I care about. It's one of the things I love about me, and that's one of the reasons I don't care for the left anymore, is because I don't see that anywhere except Bernie Sanders. And no one will elect Bernie Sanders. People want to fucking vote for Pete Buttigieg and Biden because they're all the safe choice. And you can't live your life making safe choices. You can't. You can't. I mean, you can, but you're not gonna get anywhere. This is where we get. That's why I'm out here making hard choices. That's why I'm out here putting my freedom on the line because, look, the big problem that small town America faces is capitalism. I respect the hardworking American spirit as much as anyone else. I get it. You put your nose to the grindstone, you really work for something, and that's how you get better in life. That whenever you apply yourself, you get better and you get further in life. And I believe in that. I really do. But it needs to be met with adequate compensation, and it's not. People are breaking their backs for nothing these days. And that needs to change. And that really needs to change. Capitalists are up at the top. They're not doing any of the work. They're not. They claim that they are, but fucking really? Really? They're doing nothing and getting all of the money for our hard work. And fuck that shit. I mean, weren't we raised on, putting in a hard day's work? Why are we letting them get away with not putting in the work for the amount of money that they get? I don't get that. I don't believe in it as an American. I think it's un-American. The thing that started the Revolutionary War was taxes. And that's kind of why there's a big stigma against taxes. Because, well, that's why we fought that's why we started the American Revolution. But it's not really taxes. It's because America was getting taxed, but none of that tax money was going back to America. It wasn't being spent on America. It was going back to Britain, and it was going into the vaults of the people who lived there. That's what we were fighting for, was taxation with representation. That's what, the phrase, no taxation without representation. That's what people were upset about. It wasn't that we were getting taxed, it's that we weren't getting anything out of it. And we're in that situation again. We're getting taxed in the fact that big companies are getting bailed out, and we're not. We're getting taxed in that we're not being left with choices in where we buy stuff anymore, and we have to buy from these big companies. And we're having to buy things that are cheap that break down. Have you heard about manufactured obsolescence? It's whenever companies make things to break on purpose, basically. They don't want them to last because what's the point of selling you a good can opener for like $10 when they can sell you one for $8 that you're gonna have to keep buying every year? I had this can opener, and after a while, it stopped working, and I looked at to figure out what was going on. And I noticed that there were these two cogs that met, that, interlocked, and they would spin, and that's how the thing would go. But this gear was made of a different material than this gear. And it was also like on the side of a had a bit of an edge to it, basically. So what would happen is that whenever these cogs would go down, this gear would carve a little bit out of this gear, and just over time, as it would keep getting rotated, it would carve off a bit more and a bit more and a bit more until it just had nothing left to hit, and it just slid right off. And I had to replace it. They don't make things out of cheap materials because they're cheap. I mean, it would only cost them a little bit more to make it out of something more durable, and they could just pass that on to us. Make, 20 cents more materials, 20 cents more to us. No one's going to care. They make them out of cheap materials because they want them to break. That's how we're being taxed these days. That's what you all should be upset about. That's what you need to go after. But who knows? I'm just one crazy person. What do I know? Yeah, think about it.